Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson, and this is time for the Snapchat Q&A. If you sent me a Snapchat last night, in the last 12 hours or so, then it'll be getting read out today. Snapchat is at Mr. Stephen Howson, if you don't already know. All my social media links are in the bottom: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the gaming channel, everything. So hit up all of those, and also the Reddit group as well if you want to get more in depth or ask anything that's going to need a proper answer. Let's get straight into it. So Shane Sands 122 says, is it just me, or do you feel we have lost our fear factor? I mean, with all these big players we've signed, we look beaten easily. How do we fix it? I think we lost a lot of character all in one go, from Sir Alex to Paddy Evra and Vidic and Rio and Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, and that is going to take a long time to replace and develop that sort of thing. Rooney hasn't really stepped up to the plate in terms of a captain and a leader. There's a massive lack of characters in the team, so it's difficult for us. It's not the easiest thing in the world. You've seen teams go years and years and years without being able to win anything. I mean, look at the Arsenal team. On paper, everything looks like it should be clicking for them, but it just never does. And the league is as competitive it's ever been, as competitive as it's ever been. It's full of killers at the moment. Jose's 4 months into his reign as Manchester United manager. He's going to need time to shake out even some of the deadwood that Fergie had, like Phil Jones and Ashley Young and stuff. So there's a long process for this. Don't expect miracles overnight, but I do agree we do look beaten quite easily at times, and that is a little bit worrying. Dan Dill 09 says,
how good do you think Howson can be? I've seen a lot of video on him, and he looks like he's got all the talent in the world, but I don't know.
How good do I think Angel Gomez can be? He said. A top-tier footballer in the world. As simple as that. Definitely a top-tier footballer in world football. Technique-wise, just phenomenal. Confidence, calm, collected, composed on the ball. A real vision. He's making things tick. His statistics for this season from midfield in terms of goal output and assists is absolutely phenomenal. Top-tier footballer. You know, dare I say, a Ballon d'Or winner potentially one day. You need a lot of luck around that. I mean, the likes of Roy Keane never managed to get a Ballon d'Or nomination. You've got to be at the right club at the right time with the right sort of press behind you. So, but easily a top tier footballer. Alex Cronshaw says, completely agree on Suarez. Would you rather bring back Vidic or Rio in their prime to this team right now? We need character, don't we? And both of those players actually had character. You think when you say character, Vidic was probably a little bit more because he was more aggressive. Rio was pretty aggressive, and I think Rio brought a lot of character, and Rio acts like a United fan right now. So I would lean towards Rio Ferdinand at his peak right now. Adam Townsley says, what's going on with United this season? Lack of squad rotation or quality or attitude? All of the above, I would say. Definitely all of the above. There's a little bit of a lack of rotation, I think. I think the team that we've been playing has been a little bit too strong. We've not really been allowing enough rest. And I think that's leading to inconsistent performances. There's a lot of pressure on us at the moment, and I don't know if we're dealing with that correctly. I mean, we look relaxed in training, but at times we're not looking like we're relaxed out on the pitch. If Stoke and Burnley had gone the other way, which they really could and should have, then it's not a crisis, is it? I mean, we're a few points off the top 4, that's it. But we do need to start turning these results around. I mean, I really don't care about the Europa League. Feel free to go through every single one of my videos, and you will not find me saying I really want to do well in this competition ever, because I don't. Because it has a detrimental effect on your league form. And I think the league is the only important thing at the moment. If we won the Europa, the FA Cup, and the League Cup this year, and City win the league, there's not going to be a parade in Manchester, at least on the red fucking 7/8 of Manchester, at least anyway, because it's the league that matters. We can win the league with this team, but it's closing the door on it this year. Next year it could probably do it, with a good build-up and a good run-up. Look at the way Klopp's Liverpool was shit last year, especially after 4 months. They was garbage. And then you bring that forward a year, and you're seeing a whole different football inside from them. So Mourinho needs time, and us as fans just got to be patient and get behind him. Got to go all the way to the bottom now. Hashim55, do you think we are now the same as Liverpool and living on past glory like they are? We're the current FA Cup winners. We won a title 3 years ago. No. Not at all. No. Once it gets to a decade or more, that's when you're living on past glories. Nicky at OC12. Why do you think United are playing so slow and recently, and what player do I think could give us a spark? I think a Bale. You're not getting Bale out of Real Madrid, so you're going to have to look elsewhere for someone that's that sort of direct running at you with the ball sort of player. I don't think we're playing that slow. Look at some of the chances that we created. Some of the one-touch football against Burnley was fucking phenomenal. The back heel from Pogba inside the box for Zlatan, he puts that away, and you're looking at one of the best goals you've seen at Old Trafford this year. And there was multiple instances of that. We're just not getting the rub of the green at the moment. That's not an excuse. It's just a fact. We're not getting the rub of the green at the moment. But last night's performance aside, the Burnley performance was fantastic. And results will come on the back of good performances. I would rather have the points in the bag, in all honesty. But when you get in results, but they're not performances, they're not built on solid foundations, are they? At least unlucky results with solid performances, eventually that will crack and will lead to a consistent run of good performances. People keep sending me snaps while I'm trying to do it, so it keeps knocking me up to the top. Rory H21 says, how can Rashford improve his game to ensure he starts week in, week out? I reckon he probably needs a little bit more strength. He's quite strong upper body, but I think he needs more strength. He needs to be able to bring others into his game, but not necessarily. It depends on the sort of striker that you want at the end of it. Rashford's at a bit of a crossroads where he could become the Zlatan, where you involve other people into the game. You could become the guy that plays on the last shoulder. If that's the case, then you need to add other things to your game in terms of trickery to beat the last man. You need to probably increase your pace, which is already brilliant, but you need to do more of it. And you need to have your awareness more and the positioning be a little bit more. And I don't think he's ready to do that and hold the ball up. In this style of United at the moment, I don't think he suits it to be the sole number 9. In another style of United, maybe. Ruud van Nistelrooy played up front on his own phenomenally. And he would come back deep quite a lot, and he would have a real work ethic. And Rashford has got that sort of work ethic in him, so he could possibly replicate the way Ruud van Nistelrooy did. I mean, his finishing is starting to look absolutely ridiculously good, which is mad considering he couldn't. I'm not going to say he couldn't finish his dinner in the 18s, because he really could, but he wasn't prolific. And I think to be considered a top echelon centre forward, he is going to need to be prolific. And he certainly looks like he belongs at this level. But there are things that you definitely need to add to your game to be able to properly lead the line. And I think at the moment, calls to drop Zlatan and play Rashford are misguided, because the way the team plays at the moment is using Zlatan as a focal point. And if you look how many times Zlatan brings others into play, he's got great vision, he's got a great eye for a pass. And I don't see that in Rashford at the moment. They're totally different footballers. And that's not to say Rashford's shit, he couldn't lead the line at United. I think he probably could one day, but the style of play that Manchester United have got at the moment doesn't suit his style of centre forward as a lone striker. He either needs to be like one of 3 or one of 2, and you might get one of 3, but I don't think you're going to see a 2 partnership at the moment. But Jose's changed already this season. At the end of the season, he might have changed 3 or 4 more times. Reece Corrales says, what is the problem? 3 managers all having the same problem suggests it's deeper than just throwing another 300 million at the squad like we already have. Of course it is, yeah. And this is what people are starting to realise now, that maybe actually Louis van Gaal needed time. I don't think Moyes did. The Olympiacos game, I was like, nope, that's it. Completely done now. I just recorded myself. I was like, what the hell is that noise? I think it probably proves a little bit that Louis van Gaal needed maybe a little bit more time to get it right. But you could see the signs that things was coming right in the bigger games under Louis van Gaal. It's similar to Mourinho. We look like we've got the tactics right in certain games, possibly like the likes of Liverpool. And then we've got the tactics completely wrong in other games. Games like Chelsea, where we concede after 30 seconds and then we concede a fluky goal at a corner, all in the first half. You then have to push. And when you push against a team when you desperately need not just one goal to make this a result, but you're going to need several goals to make this a result, a team like Chelsea can and will punish you. And I think ultimately it was a really bad result. But because we was pushing for it and we pushed and we ultimately didn't manage to get the goal. But I think there is encouraging signs in the performances. And I think Mourinho is the right man. And if he's not the right man, then there isn't a right man. Because I don't see anybody else out there that's available, at least, that can do anything with this. And I think anybody that you bring in is going to need another 200, 300 million. And you're looking at mistakes of previous managers, and you look at like Marouane Fellaini. Was you ever going to build a style around Marouane Fellaini? You probably wasn't in the grand scheme of things. And this is arguably where a director of football comes back in again. And you say, the director of football needs to have the holistic vision that might exceed beyond this manager who's sitting in front of him asking for 50 million to sign a new whatever. The director of football needs to almost be neutral and say, well, hang on, mate, you need to justify this a little bit more, because if I sign this for you and we put this guy on a 4 or 5 year contract, we're going to be lumbered with him coming towards the part of his career where he's not going to be worth as much. What are we going to do on the back of that? And I think that it's not just that a director of football brings, but that's one of the things that a director of football is going to be bringing in. And I think that's one of the things that a director of football would be good for. And I think that's one of the things that a director of football brings to help a manager to make better decisions. And when that manager ends up going, then you've got another option. And the guy that was in charge as a director of football has helped him build a squad that's going to go, so you don't have to go, we're building a squad for this, and then when you go, oh, this new manager's a whole different style. There was talk that Guardiola was going to City from 2012, which means that some of the signings that were made under Pellegrini, because they've got a director of football, was made with the knowledge that Guardiola was on his way. And there's also rumours that Guardiola didn't sign people for Bayern Munich because he was hoping to come and get them once he was at City, which is a bit rum, I think, on his part for Bayern Munich. But either way, that's something that you're led to believe, and at least if there's a plan in place, like I said, right or wrong, whether it works out perfectly with City or not, they had a plan that they wanted to follow, and they had a system and a style of play that they wanted to implement. And he knew he was coming from Christmas last year, at least. So the public knew he was coming from Christmas last year, at least, which means that he probably knew several months in advance of that, if not a year in advance of that. Which makes you think that some of the signings was tailoring towards that. Which makes you think that maybe he had an input into what was going on in training under Pellegrini towards the latter stage of things. So it looks like the team was coming and stuck to his... now, maybe it wasn't him direct, but maybe it was coming from the director of football because they knew what was coming in next. So it looks like the transition for Pep Guardiola has been very easy. That's because there's been a lot of work done behind the scenes, whereas Manchester United don't have any football men on the board apart from Nicky Butt now, but he's solely to do with the academy as a director of the academy. There's no football men on the board that are making these sort of decisions. I think we knew that Mourinho was coming from back in January, but by the reaction of Louis van Gaal, there was no input into training, there was no input into signings, there was no input into anything like that apart from when Mourinho arrived. Someone called me midway through chatting shit, so I had to restart it. I have no idea what I was talking about now, so let's just go on to the next question. But yeah, regardless, I think there's planning in place, and I think that planning allows you to kick off and start on the front foot rather than having to start from a standing start. Okay, TME UTD says, what are my ideal realistic top 3 transfers in and out in January? Hashtag that guy Timbo. I really don't know. I really don't know. Realistically, you don't really sign many in January. So, I'm struggling because you're not going to sign a decent... United don't need B-level players. We need A-level players. We're all right in terms of a squad, but we've got a lot of B-level players or B-plus level players that are really good squad players without having that stellar, he's obvious, apart from the likes of Pogba and possibly Zlatan, who start if they're fit at the moment. 3 out. There's no one that you go, he needs to be out, but I guess that they don't bring much to the squad. If he's not going to play Schweinsteiger, let him go. Phil Jones has probably passed his usefulness and he needs to reinvent himself and restart his career in the similar way that Johnny Evans did. So Phil Jones, he can go. I think there's better than Ashley Young in the positions that Ashley Young offers us cover and works hard in, which some people seem to think is worth having him around for. So he can go for me. A lot of people expect to say Fellaini, but I think Fellaini, like I've always said, offers a plan B. It's just that plan A is not... I mean, you spent 30 million on a guy that is literally a plan B sub. He can offer you something. I picked him in my starting 11 to play against Chelsea. I wanted to see that. I thought he would offer us a bit of protection at set pieces, but once we had to chase the game, now you're playing a different style of football, and now Marouane Fellaini becomes a hindrance rather than a help. So there's time and place to deploy him. He's special teams almost, isn't he? So, don't know. It's a hard one. There's no one that you're saying like desperately need to get off the books. Some would say Rooney. I think Rooney's got a lot to offer as a useful squad player. If he can accept being a squad player, if he needs to be a first team player and he continues to be leaking the sort of stuff that's finding its way to the papers, then he's no use. He's a hindrance. He's not with us, he's against us. Or maybe it's more his agent than him, but you know what I mean? So maybe that's a reason that you would want to move him on. Eamon Soccerman says, do I think Angel Gomez could win the Ballon d'Or? Yes, I do. Lawan Rasul 84 says, what do I think of starting Marshall as a striker? Keep up the good shit. Yeah, I think Marshall could play striker at the moment. That's what I said. I think I definitely could play him over him and Rashford. I think it could definitely be Marshall that does that. Flyboy Felix. We need to see Mkhitaryan in the team more. I don't think there's anyone would disagree with that. Decent cameo from him last night, wasn't it? But still, we need a bit more. Callum Day says, what do I think about the current situation at United? There's a lot of facets to that. It's not really a quick answer. Jaman 10 says Moisey. Junior Hash says, where do you think we'll finish in all competitions this season? The only one I give a fuck about is the league. And I think we will probably finish fourth on current form because of the way we're playing. But that could change, and you can reevaluate that every single month up till May, to be honest. I mean, we was 12 points off or 12 points ahead of City and managed to blow the league. And we've chased down a 12-point league from March in the past before, so it ain't over till a fat lady singing and she's not even in the dressing room yet. Reese says, fuck the Europa League. Amen, brother. Connor McLeod 0 says, who's the best striker in the world? He's watching a podcast there with Dave. If you've not seen the podcast with Dave, go and check it out on iTunes or on this YouTube channel. The best striker in the world for me at the moment is probably Luis Suarez, as much as that kicks me in the bollocks to say it. Big fan of Lewandowski, but I don't think he's in the greatest of form at the moment. Higuain's doing okay since his move. Sergio Aguero's probably in there with a shout of that. And I think Zlatan, although not in form, is a consideration for one of those. I definitely think that. Apart from that, that's it really, and that's probably the top 5, I would say, there or thereabouts. Jordan O'Flynn says, favourite United winger in the last 5 years? Hello from Ireland. In the last 5 years, so 2011 onwards, we've not really had a lot of wingers, have we? What are you looking at? Nani? Welbeck sort of played on the wing, but it wasn't really a winger, was it? You got the current sort with Memphis and Ashley Young, and I don't know. I think that's something we have lacked for a while, is a proper out and out winger that Bale style, that just wants to pick the ball up and just get at you. Interesting thought. What do you guys think in the comments? Let us know. Top 5 wingers in the last, or top winger in the last 5 years at United? Seriously lacking. James Dutton says, opinion on Tuanzebe getting England call up and thoughts on where we'll be in May. Again, I think we can get into 4th spot. It's not an achievement, but it's a minimum requirement. We need to go on and build on for next year to have a real go at winning the league. Tuanzebe getting the England call up for the under-20s. Well, he's been with the 19s, I think, of late. It's natural progression. I think he was the captain of the 19s. I'm not sure if he's been named as a captain of the 20s. Hell of a footballer. Can't wait to see how he progresses once he starts getting minutes. I thought it was going to happen this week in the Europa with him and Joe Riley being brought into the training squad on Monday, but it's not happened, so you've got to think it's close. I did have a chat with him last Monday at the Arsenal game, and I said, am I going to be getting a phone call saying you're in the squad soon? He just smiled and said, hopefully. So, hopefully. He's right, hopefully. And he says, you just got to keep working hard and it'll come. And he's right, it will. It will come. And he is working hard and his game is phenomenal at the moment. So, all the luck for Tuanzebe. Presto G says, am I positive for the rest of the season? I am, yeah. Because you've seen City go on a little bit of a slip. You've seen Tottenham currently in a bit of a slip. That Arsenal slip's coming, like we said yesterday with Dave on the podcast. That Arsenal slip's never late. Liverpool will go on a skid. I can see City having another skid as well. We just got to start putting consistent runs together and start picking up our points per average. And once we start firing that in, we're gonna move up the table because everyone's gonna take points off each other, especially as they're all starting to play each other now. I think Spurs have got Arsenal this weekend, so someone's losing points there, aren't they already? So we've got the opportunity to gain ground on someone this weekend. We've got to take these opportunities when they come though, and not just let them go to waste. The White Cafu says, please explain what the hell is going on with United. Why can't we deliver much potential? It's just not working, and where the hell is Memphis? Memphis should have been playing in the Europa for me. And we're just not delivering because it's just not firing at the moment. Sometimes it just needs time. It just needs time and it needs a bit of patience, and I think that's the stage that we're in at the moment. Everyone just needs to chill out on the overreaction. It's going to come. Mourinho is a top-class manager. The players are top-class players. Those two together is going to lead to something eventually. I just hope that we're not too far off the pace when it eventually does click. Alex Burton. Priority signing for United in January. I don't think signings are the answer. I don't think signings are the answer at all. There's no one, apart from a real winger, which, Mkhitaryan could arguably fill in for. You're going to lose someone from the first team. Mata, Mkhitaryan, Marshall, someone like that if you bring an out-and-out winger in. I think we probably need to bring an out-and-out winger in. But even if you bring that in, there's still the settling in and all the rest of it. There's no obvious answer. We can do the job that we need to do with the players that are at our disposal. There's no massive weakness in the team right now. It's strong in all areas. We just got to give them time. Joseph Moller says, are United in a crisis? Are we fuck? Crisis was in 1958 when we lost half of the players in a plane crash. That's a crisis. That's an actual crisis. This is a blip in form. Like people are saying, oh, you're 8 if you're below Watford. For starters, it's November, shut your mouth. And there's a long way to go in this season. And we've got a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, even the way people are talking about Pogba, Pogba's playing really well. It's just not completely kicking off for him. So this is not a crisis. Not a crisis whatsoever. Shafayat96 says, Jose facing the same problems as LVG and Moyes. Not the same as Moyes, but definitely the same as LVG, in certain aspects at least anyway. Moyes didn't have the confidence or the ability in himself. He did have the squad was definitely a little bit diminished from Fergie, and he only brought in Fellaini in the first 6 months, and he only brought Mata in and then barely played him. No, it's different to Moyes. It is different to Moyes. But no, I see similarities of what's going on with Mourinho and LVG, and we said you'd see similarities. They're quite a rigid way in which they set up, but Jose's a bit more free and direct in the final third, and that is what we're seeing. So you're seeing the same sort of results and mistakes that you saw under Louis van Gaal. We have to give this guy time to get it right, and he will get it right. Robbie1872 says, why do United away support always sound better than the home support? And what's the deal with the green and yellow Scouts and the Glazers? Coming from a neutral. I'm glad you put coming from a neutral, because I was a bit like, how the fuck don't you know that? Okay, so the green and yellow thing was part of a 2010 campaign by MUST, Manchester United Supporters Trust, which was green and gold until we're sold. Harking back to the old Newton Heath days, Newton Heath used to play in green and yellow as per the 93-94 Manchester United away kit, which everyone loves, one of the favourite kits everyone's got. And green and gold, it's a little bit of obviously it's different from red and white, so it stands out. And that campaign obviously didn't work. We needed to have raised $1 billion. We needed to either bring in someone that could afford to buy the club and buy the Glazers out. The Glazers have rid that. They've rid that and a couple of other takeover attempts, or not full-on attempts, but at least inquiries about them fucking off from a club essentially. So that was what the green and gold represents. The green and gold represents the desire to see the club put into either the fans' hands or someone that doesn't leverage it against a ton of debt, which could potentially put the club in jeopardy should the financial market shift, should the interest rates rise or anything like that. The club could have been fucked. They're out of the woods with it now. The danger period was that initial 5-6 years where I don't know if you can tell my light's flickering. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. The danger period was that initial 4 or 5 years under which the interest and the debt was so enormous that any sort of blip in the TV deal and Manchester United could have been fucked, completely fucked. And that was a gamble that they made with our club. Who the fuck are they to do that? They didn't have the money. They didn't come in and buy it. It might have been me and you that should have bought it. It could have been us two. You watching at home and me sitting over here, and we've just gone to the bank and gone, listen, I'd like to buy Manchester United. Makes a shitload of money. And they're going, cool, are you going to put anything down to like if you buy a house, you have to put 10-15% down? I think they put a couple of million down. Or they paid for the lawyers for the financing of it. They didn't put any money into it themselves. They leveraged it all through bank loans and then bought the shares through bank loans and took the club over through bank loans. So all this is sitting on a loan. And if the interest rates rise and they can't afford the repayments, we could have seen the club stripped of its assets, sold, gone bankrupt, and all literally every nightmare scenario that you've seen played out at the likes of Leeds and other clubs that have gone bankrupt. And to pay the debt off, they got lucky with the TV deal, because the TV deal wasn't on the horizon. It came as a shock, certainly the current TV deal. And all the fears from the Supporters Trust and the Shareholders United and stuff like that, that was all that. They're going to have to raise season ticket prices. They looked at the figures and they was like, this debt's 100 million a year. Look at the fuss that's just been kicked up for us spending 90 million on a world-class midfielder. We've paid 100 million a year since 2005 in debt repayments just because the name of whoever's changed. We could have had a world record signing or two every single year, because obviously the world record was lower back then. We could have had the world record signing every single year from 2005 to today, and it wouldn't have made a fucking blind bit of difference to the bottom line of this club, but for them buying us out. What was the other question? Why does the United away support sound better than home support? Here's the thing. At home, we're all spread out. On away games, no one sits in the seats. In a nutshell, basically you get in and you got your 6 mates. Where are you standing? Yeah, I'll come with you. Or if there might be 2 of you that have got tickets on row 4, but the other 4 have got tickets on row 12. So you just go and fucking stand with your mates in there. And an oversimplification is that, but also because people have been drinking a bit longer because they're on away days, it's a little bit more of a hardcore fan base. There is a lot less day trippers and stuff do aways. So it's just a more concentrated Manchester United support. And Old Trafford is enormous. Stretford End Tier 2, where I am, it sounds like it's rocking when you're up there. The singing section sounds like you're rocking when you're in there. But the weird acoustics of the stadium means that if you're in the Stretford End, you can't hear J&K. If you're in J&K, you can't hear the Stretford End. But you can see the clapping. You can see another phone call interrupting me. PPI. Mithering bastards. So yeah, basically the away support is just a distillation of the home support, and the acoustics at Old Trafford doesn't make it easy, and obviously it's all just squished together in whichever away end we are in. Is the top and bottom line of it, really. Danny Ferrand says, if you could take any player in world football for our team, who would it be? Bale, Cruz, Lewandowski, arguably. One of those 3. Cheetah 3 says, if you could win the Champions League if it meant getting relegated in the same year. Depends who you beat. If you could beat Real Madrid in round 2, Barcelona in the quarters, Bayern Munich in the semis, and Liverpool in the final, and just have absolutely obliterated everybody in Europe and actually win it. Not Liverpool and draw your way to the final. But if you actually just turn up and bitch slap all those teams, then yeah, I'll take it. United in the Championship, some of the fucking aways they can get to go to there. Burton away. Yeah, why not? We'll be back. We just won the Champions League. And you'd be playing Champions League football. So yeah, fuck it, why not? I'm Mario. Loan one, keep one, sell one. Oh, I don't like this. Fosu, Angel, or Rashford. No, I don't like this. Keeping them all. J Dodger 737. In my opinion, we need to sign an experienced centre back in January. The only problem is I generally can't think of one that would be available and cheap. Can I think of anyone? No. I wanted Ashley Williams for that reason. And look how well he's doing now for Koeman's Everton. You all listen to me one day. But no, seriously, no. I'm shocked at how well Bailey's doing. And I think between what we've got and what's coming through, we'd probably be okay. Like you said, don't want to see us waste 60 million on a player that might be hit and miss. Jack Dunlop 7 says, do I think Marshall will eventually move to become a centre forward alongside Marcus? Yeah, ultimately he is a centre forward as well. He's just been played out wide at the moment while he still learns his game. He's still young. You've got to remember this. Kieran Stevo, what signings should we make in January? Again, don't know. None, probably. What happens if United form doesn't change? Well, it will. It will change. It will change. I mean, we finish 8th, if not. Jay Murphy says, other than Tuanzebe, which players are closest to the first team? Riley. Because of his position that he's in, Goss won't be, but talent-wise, he could be. Similar for Matty Willett. We've got too many central midfielders at the moment, so unfortunately, central midfielders are going to struggle getting through at the moment, I think. Fosu Mensah can't even get a shout in, and he's definitely worth it. It'll be one of the peripheral players, or potentially a centre-half like Tuanzebe, I reckon. Until then, the rest of the ones coming through are 17, 18, so 16, 17 and 18, so a little bit too young, but definitely the conveyor. But I mean, we was talking the other day, weren't they? But you're potentially looking at a United start. You can do a back four, Borthwick, Jackson, Riley, Tuanzebe, Roshan, which would be entirely homegrown, and then you could have a midfield of Fosu Mensah, Angel Gomez, and Pogba, which is another homegrown midfield. All young, all cracking lads. And when we said that we can replicate the class of '92 with some of the lads that are coming through, when I wrote the article, United's class of '16 last year, I was serious. There's some talent in there that once it gets through to the first team together, obviously you've got Rashford up front, you could really see that happening again, which is crazy to think. But can they go on and win? Well, they didn't win the FA Youth Cup this year for a start. They didn't do well in it last year. But then they need to go on and win a European Cup in 7 years or so, which is a big ask. James 42689 says, will Angels Gomez stay? Yeah, I think so. Toym123 says, are we fucked? Nah. James MKR says, give Europa League to a bunch of under-23s and a few players like Mata. Why Mata? Mata's Captain Mata at the moment, isn't it? But yes, I agree. He should really be looking at mixing the squad a little bit. There's definitely Tuanzebe and Riley, like we just said, worth their opportunities. Team has no identity or style of play, at least when City lose. They lose with their identity intact. What is Mourinho trying to do? Well, just because City have got that really obvious identity and Klopp's got that really obvious identity doesn't mean that we've not got an identity. We are trying to play good, fast, direct football at the moment. It's very similar to what Sir Alex would do with this team, I think, at the moment under Jose. I can see the green shoots of what he's trying to do. It's just not coming off just yet. And would you rather lose with your identity intact? I'd rather not fucking lose. Bamford Alex 7 says, top 5 under 18 players. Gomez, Buffon, Whelan, Warren, Roshan, Williams, Chong, Burkhart. There's a few in there. There's a good side developing. Kennedy says, which one former academy player would you take back at United right now? Can we have PK? Can we get PK? I always miss Giuseppe Rossi. Giuseppe Rossi was the one that got away. Who else has moved on? Not Morrison. I think he was doomed. Yeah. PK. Bonneville. Scared for losing top 4, and how damaging will it be for the club if finishing outside the top 4 again? It'd be really bad to finish outside the top 4 again. I really don't want to see us finish outside the top 4 again at all. And I don't think we will. Rogers1875 says, if we're to replace Zlatan and Rooney and money ain't an option, would you like to see us go for Griezmann and Lukaku? Oh, it's gone off. Yes, I really would. Lambat Adu says, after yesterday, do you think we look a bit fatigued? Yeah, I do. And will Pogba miss the Swansea game? It's gone off again. I hope not. But maybe it's a good thing if he has got a bit of I think they said it's a dead leg, so they're not going to be out for too long. But yes, I think it'd be a good idea if he did have a bit of a break. I think he's played every single game, hasn't he? Since he arrived. Connor Ryan 3. When will Memphis get his chance? He needs to be unleashed. Fuck knows. If it wasn't last night, when is it going to be? Unless he's going to do it some bananas like Arsenal at home. Ant1994 says, you shouldn't brush all Arsenal fans with the same brush. Are all United fans glory hunters? Well, yeah, according to everyone, we are. Although there's not much fucking glory to be had at the moment, is there? And no, all Arsenal fans are not the same. Laura Woodsy from Soccer AM is not mental. Joel from Cheeky Sport is not mental. And I'm probably sure there's maybe one or two others around the world that aren't mental as well. In fact, you know what? I think Ian Wright is not mental as well. I'm not sure if he's Palace or Arsenal. I can't really work him out. Bradley Bibby123 says, do I think Mourinho is the right manager? Yes. It's not Roy Hodgson, is it? Tommy Buckley 13 says, where do you think we'll finish based on current form? Sneak into the top 4 at the moment, but I still think we could still put a challenge together, but we have to start winning games. I know that sounds a bit Michael Owen, but you know what I mean? Tom PPU says, we need Valencia back ASAP, one of the most underrated players in the team. He's a character. That's what he is. He's character. And he's hard as nails. I think that helps. Nadji Snap says, do you reckon Bastian Schweinsteiger will ever play for United again? And who do I think will be sold in January? I've already covered who I think will be sold. And Bastian, no, I don't think he will. As much as that saddens me. Matty Boyle 21, what position did I play when I was younger? Left back or left wing, because I'm left footed, and that's it, because I'm shit. And I'm left footed. Abrahami, what makes a player, manager or team world class? Being one of the top few, and you can extend few from being like 2 or 3 to, you know, top 10 or 12 or possibly even 15 in their position in the world. So you're a world class manager if you're one of the top 15 managers in the world. You're a world class keeper if you're one of the top 10, 12, 15 keepers in the world. You're a world class left back if you're one of the top 10, 15 left backs in the world. I don't think it means being the best, because that would just be the best, isn't it? World class means that, you know, you can pretty much improve. You can improve any team by going to it. Now, obviously, you go, well, if you go to Bayern Munich as X, you're not going to improve X because they've got a lot of world class players. No. Swear to God, how many fucking phone calls am I getting today? Right, last couple, and then we're done. Why are Liverpool fans so deluded? Because it's been their year every year for 25 years and it's just fucking drove them insane. Nate Prendergast said, do I see any major problems with what we're doing at the moment that's leading to bad results? No, not really. I mean, it was shite last night, but I can't see any obvious reason why. Ali Saudi says, the transition for Liverpool and City's new coaches has been great so far. Why do you think? No, it's not. City, yes, and we covered that earlier, but it wasn't fucking quick for Klopp. He was on the same points per game as Rodgers was for the whole of last season. It's this season where he's kicked in. He's had an extra year. It's took him a year to do it. And even at the start of this season when they lost to Burnley, people wasn't saying, oh, aren't Liverpool fucking title contenders on the back of that? Was they fuck? So, no, I reject that, and I disagree with what you're saying. And we need time. It's as simple as that. But anyway, before I get another fucking phone call, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, get any of your comments in below. Look out for next Friday's Snapchat Q&A. There is another game coming on the retro game coming on the gaming channel tonight. So please come and subscribe to the gaming channel. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers, and if I get to 1,000 subscribers this weekend, I can't reach it. It's over there. I've got a big fucking jar of retro sweets. It's got whams in there and everything. Do you know what? I'm going to get it. Boom, look at that. Retro sweets. We've got whams, we've got refreshers, we've got dib dabs, we've got the lot in there. If I get to 1,000 subscribers this weekend, so you got till midnight on Sunday to get me up to 1,000 subscribers, one of you is getting that. Simple as that. There we go. Right, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Get the fuck out of here. See you in a bit.